Kansas, performing the 7 million selling album, Point of No Return, in its entirety.
We are young, hearted to heart, we stand. No promises, no demands. Love is a battlefield. We are strong.
You leave this house now.
No one can tell us where we're wrong.
You can just forget about coming back.
It's Friday night. My name's Jimmy. And Into the Microcosm is on the air.
What
hijack my world at night. To a place in the past we've been cast out of. Oh, now we're back in the fight. We're back on the train. Oh, back on the chain gang. Circumstance beyond our control. Ah, the phone, TV, and the news of the world got in the house like a pigeon from hell. Ah, through sand in our eyes and descended like flies. Put us back on the train.
When I look out my window, many sights to see. And when I look in my window, so many different people to be, that it's strange.
Do the mambo like a crazy and hey mambo, don't want a tarantella, hey mambo, no more the mozzarella, hey mambo Italiano, try an enchilada with a fish of bacalao and hey gumba, I love how you.
Yo.
Hey,
What's happening, man?
not a whole lot. Beautiful weather out here in New York today. It's a nice sunny 70 degrees.
Oh, that's good, man. That's good. Oh my God, man. Look at it. Look at it. You see it, don't you?
What are we looking at?
We've gone from playing stadiums to playing for 15 people at our local bar.
Yeah, but the people in the bar are hardcore.
I know, but I mean, I think our 15 minutes are up, dude. I can't tell. I guess we'll find out. Epic Journeyman's gonna be joining us in a few. What time is it? He'll probably be joining us in like a half hour or something. So how's your week going, man? Good? I saw you yesterday in the chat.
Yeah, I was real late last night. I was just heading out from work at that ungodly hour. What was it, like 11 o'clock or something? I jumped in there.
Mm-hmm. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've lost track of time, man.
We got another Corvette in. It's weird. Like, you know, when I'm doing work on these cars, I haven't worked on a Corvette in probably 2 or 3 years. Now all of a sudden I got like 6 of them, and it's weird like that. Like that, all of a sudden they just multiply. You know, we haven't worked on you say you don't work on a Volkswagen Beetle for quite a while. Then all of a sudden there's 3 or 4 Volkswagen Beetles all at one shot that just show up. You know, and it's like you don't know if the people know each other, or you know, they look at the website and say, "Oh, that guy's got one of those. I'll bring mine there too." Or, you know, it's really weird. I went from working on like no Corvettes for a long time. Now there's like 6 of them that I have to deal with.
Damn. Well, at least they're good to work on.
They're actually difficult to work on because they're so cramped.
The older ones, though.
Yeah. There's what do we have? We have a 59, 61, a 62, a 63, 65. Actually, 2 65s, a 68, a 69, and a 76. I think that's all of them. So, quite the variety.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Spencer, what's happening? Hey, D-Light, what's happening? Good to see you. Hey, Cindy, what's going on? Patricia, Wanda, Danny, Rich. That should be John. VJJ just showed up. That should be about everybody. Didn't take long to shout that shout out.
Oh, Danny's in there. D-Light, Patricia, Wanda, Larry Reimer, Holly's in there. Let's see who else. Jeff, of course, right at the top.
Yeah. So, what do you got going tonight, man? Do we got some reverse speechage? The reverse perverse?
No, I don't. I didn't.
Didn't really do anything.
Didn't do too much. I listened to some stuff. Actually, I think I was telling you earlier. I found a live stream that I had recorded of a Ukrainian girl talking about the situation from her perspective, being right in the middle of it. And even at the end of her broadcast, she says, "Oh, you know, there's stuff going on outside." She says, "I got to go, guys. I got to go hide." So, you know, it was kind of an interesting stream to listen to hear someone who's actually there, right in the middle of it, streaming and giving their perspective of what's going on around them. And in some ways, you know, it's obvious that her life is quite affected by what's going on. People have left. I mean, she's got to hide at night. So, you know, because there's troops running around in the streets and that kind of thing. And but the interesting part of it was she wasn't really blaming it as she wasn't portraying it the same way our media is portraying it. Let's put it that way. She wasn't blaming the country that's next door as much as she was blaming the country that we're in for starting the whole thing. And it was just really an interesting perspective from someone who's actually there, you know. Not sure what she actually does, but I kind of get the feeling she was a cam girl kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's a big thing in those countries, obviously.
It's a big thing in any country. Fucking.
Well, yeah, but I mean, particularly in Ukraine and those kind of countries, I believe a lot of that trafficking and that kind of stuff goes on there.
Man, I mean, last week, it was like, I think it was a couple days ago. So I get this friend request from this person on on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
So I accepted their friend request, and I'm like chatting the person, see what the fuck's going on or whatever. And then the person says, send me a picture. It's like, what do you mean, send you a picture? I go, that is my fucking picture. What do you mean, send you a picture? It never dawned on me. The bitch was saying, send me a picture because she wanted a picture of my dick. Okay? But it didn't dawn on me. Okay, so I'm sitting here going, because I guess every time you tell a man on the internet, like on Facebook or whatever, whenever I guess a woman asks a man to send him a picture, I guess for whatever reason he sends pictures of his dick, which I've never done. But so this chick was like, that's what she wanted, but she didn't want to, or that's what she wanted me to send her, but it's not what she was saying. So I'm like, she's like, why don't we chat later or some shit? And I'm like, okay, well, why don't we chat right now? She goes, well, why don't you get a card so you can chat with me. I said, I don't need a card to chat with you. Chat with you right now on Facebook. You know, I'll chat with you on Skype. I'll chat with you on Zoom. She's like, no. You need to buy this card. It's called a Steam card or something. You gotta buy this card. I was like, what? She goes, oh yeah, baby. She goes, I will fucking blow your mind and all this shit. I was like, fuck, man, I'm just over there minding my own business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've noticed that. I don't really use Twitter, you know, except to like look at things. I don't tweet. I think I've made maybe 3 tweets in my whole life. And so I recently signed up for like a computer giveaway or something through one of these things, and followed one of the companies on Twitter just to get the notifications. And all of a sudden I'm getting these people that are just sending me messages just like that, hey, you want to have fun, you want to do. I'm like, where are these people coming from? And it's strange. Like, it's one thing when you walk up to someone in a bar and you're face to face and you go, hey, you want to talk or whatever. But now it's like just random people show up, and propose the weirdest things on Twitter.
Do you know what the punchline to my story is, dude? Is I can't tell you over the years how many fucking women have come on my Facebook, wanted to be friends, and asked me for a picture. And I was like, what the fuck? I go, there's my picture right there. Go over and look at my photos or whatever. You know what I mean? This whole time I was like completely clueless as what they meant. Because when they say send me a picture and you send them a dick picture, that means you're a player. In other words, if you do that, that's a signal to them that they can be sexual with you and offer themselves up to you as a cam girl or whatever. See? Because I guess like I'm saying, the majority of players on the internet, when some semi-good looking some woman tells them to send them a picture or whatever, they send a dick picture or whatever. So I guess this is a way to sort you out to see if you're a player, because there appears to be shitloads of lonely men up on Facebook. You know
well, I mean, how many 40-year-olds sitting in their mom's basements, sweating at video games nowadays? And that's probably as close as they ever get to a real woman.
I'm just saying, we were gonna do a show about cam girls a while back, and I did a bunch of research on the shit over in the Eastern Bloc countries. I mean, girls over there, dude, are making like $70,000 a week, man.
I wouldn't doubt it.
In Ukraine. I mean, that's one of the places where it is. They go to
I wouldn't doubt it at all.
they go to a building and they have a room what they're in and they have all these different clothes and costumes and shit. And they just turn on the fucking. They just
Yeah,
turn on.
they're like little sets, right? Like a bedroom scene or a living room scene, or they're like apartment sets.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, believe it or not, there's actually we may have even done this on the show that a lot of there's YouTube channels that are like that too, where there's a lot of these high-end broadcasters with millions of followers are all working right out of the same office building. And,
Seriously.
next door to each other. So I see it in the same context. It really doesn't surprise me.
I'm gonna go to my homepage, right? I'm gonna go to my YouTube page right now and see if I'll see if a video from this girl is up here. I will show you this shit I saw yesterday. It's funny and it's cute. Okay, it's funny and it's cute at the same time, but it's clear, okay, that this girl and many girls just like her, and even if they're in a couple, even if they're coupled up and they make videos on YouTube, because we haven't been on the air, I've been off watching a bunch of different videos about different subjects or whatever, watching different channels. And what I noticed is there's a if there's a female in the video, if she is on the thumbnail in some sort of sexual position or compromising position, or it's a sailboat video and there's 20 sailboat videos there, but there's one channel where the guy's wife is sitting there with her legs open, and all the videos there, that's the one that gets all the cheese, man. And in more ways than one, but what's interesting is those channels are like super highly monetized, and they got shitloads of subscribers. Okay, so this one that I saw yesterday it's a gardening channel. All right, so the girl is a gardener, and that's what she does. She's got a shitload of subscribers, and hang on, I don't know what the name of the channel is. I didn't really pay attention to it. I saw this video, and it was so funny that I sent it around to a few friends just because it was fucking. It's clearly sexual, man. I mean, she's not naked, and she isn't, but she's clearly being, the sexual innuendo. She's like, look at the size of this plant. Oh, it's huge. Oh, it just exploded this year. And
I've actually seen video game streams on Twitch and stuff where people talk like that, and it.
I gotta remember who I sent it to, man, so I can get it off, because I'm never gonna find it on YouTube.
So John just put in the chat. He says, "Now I need to research in quotes and reverse speech some cam girls." Actually, that's what I was getting to before with the girl from Ukraine who was talking about the situation. I could hear both sides of it, but when it only recorded her side of the stream for whatever reason, and I did run it in reverse, and I did find some really interesting stuff. That she was speaking in English, obviously, but she was speaking very clearly in reverse for someone who had such a thick Ukrainian accent in the forward. But I don't know if I'm going to be spending a lot of time on Pornhub to find some reverse speech from Ukrainian girls.
Yeah, you don't need to do that.
I don't really need to know if I really don't need to go there. I mean, I could. There's plenty of other material. I mean, if they were talking seriously, like this girl I suspect was a cam girl was talking seriously, I would record that. But I have no interest in recording Ukrainian girls are talking dirty.
Absolutely. I got this channel now that I wanted you guys to see. But I need to see if I can find the particular video that I saw yesterday. Hang on a second. For some reason, I don't see it here, but I'm gonna show you this channel. Here, let's go over here. Hold on. It's all too much, man. Seriously, you're gonna be blown away. Hold on. I'm sure the ladies over here in the chat room, you're especially gonna find this to be interesting. Hang on a second. Let me just see. No. I gotta just here. First, I'll do is I'll put this whole channel up here so you guys can see all these videos. All right, hang on. You guys are gonna love this shit. Hold on. Here we go. So it's called the Wolf of the Wild channel. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. It's really interesting you say that, because the Ukrainian girl that I recorded, I think her channel was Wolf or something too.
Oh, really?
I have it here. I have to look, but
well, I'm just saying.
I just it's funny that that's like the correlation.
I'm just saying. So she,
Now I have to open it and look.
So see, look at her here. She's making a flower wall. Okay, hold on a second.
Oh, her name was Running with Wolves. That's what it was.
Okay, look at here. You see up here, my poor Brussels sprouts are dying. Help me. See that up there? Send help. My poor Brussels sprouts are dying. Okay, hold on. Look at this here.
Oh yeah, look at it making a flower wall.
Look at, I know, that's what I'm saying. Oh, here it is. Here's the one. Look at this one. This is the one I was talking about. Look at. Hold on a second. Let me get this fucker. You see this here? Hold on.
She probably gets like millions of views too, right?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at. Look at. I got to make this giant because if I click on it, you won't be able to see the JPEG promoting us. Okay. Hold on. You see this here? Huge swish chard. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay. She's totally got her legs wide open. And she's got like camel toe coming out, from everywhere.
Yeah, and look how she's holding the Swiss shard too.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, listen, let me back this thing up here. Let me go back. Hold on. Okay, here's the video now. Hold on. Watch this video. Hold on. Let me make it smaller. Let me get it together here. Hold on. Watch this.
Hey guys, what is up?
Okay, hold on a second. Here's some of the comments, man. Hold on. I can't see the comments on here. You just see the comments on here are funnier than shit, man.
Back to my channel, Holly Wolf here, and you're watching Wolf of the Wild. How's it going? How are you? It is a gorgeous day. It's a Saturday when I'm filming this. It's beautiful outside. It's been really hot all week. And
It's been really hot.
it's kind of cooler today, which is wonderful. A lot of my... Oh my god. Alright. Oh my god.
Oh my
my
god. Oh my god. Here.
She's not even really hot.
Alright. Oh my god. Oh my god. Alright, so as you can see, we got some food. Oh, I get to see how much I can sell. Like, that's actually what this plant looks like right now. Holy moly. It's huge. Oh my god, it's so big.
It's huge.
Oh, jeez.
Listen to this.
Oh my god. It's got all these offshoots.
Anyway,
Yeah, that's enough of that.
you got my point. What the fuck? Listen, she's got 221,000 subscribers, and that video has gotten 1,316,000 views. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, this is my message to the people, not our people, but the people. Go out, touch some grass, and talk to real humans. Because that's pathetic if that's how you get your jollies, watching somebody gardening on YouTube in spandex. I mean, I don't even know what to say. This is this is the degradation of society that they're all talking about right here, right?
I mean, it
Go out
is-
and meet somebody.
I'm
Go sit next to a pretty girl at the bar. Go smile at somebody at the cash out line at the supermarket. Do something. But really, you got to watch like that. I mean, if you're sitting home watching that, that's just sad. Just sad.
Well,
And maybe there's some good gardening tips or something in there
here's the
somewhere. But
here's the thing, man. Seriously, I'm not even kidding. So, the thing is that once you figured out what the game is on YouTube, you know what I mean. There's that we were kind of busting on that yoga girl, Penelope, for a while. You know what I mean? Because I remember when I had that sciatica thing or whatever. So I went to find a video to like do stretching or whatever. You know what I mean? I went on YouTube to find a video about stretching. So I go over there. I type in stretching sciatica, and here comes all these videos, man. And there's this video of Penelope right there. Doing yoga or whatever. And so when we first found it, she was saying she was doing yoga or whatever. But then later on, I guess people must have really got pissed because she was not really doing yoga. She was more or less doing contortionism. And so they must have said something, because now all of her videos say stretching, yoga, workout, or whatever. It doesn't say yoga anymore, because I guess a bunch of ladies got pissed or whatever. No, but it's just this what I'm saying, John. No, I mean that's what I'm saying, Alex. There's all this shit up there that is porn for certain people.
Well, sex sells, right? I mean, we see it in advertising on regular television commercials. Is
But I mean,
the way the girl puts the spoonful of ice cream to her lips, right? It's very smooth and sensual, and the motion and the and all that.
It's not.
It's part of the construct, right? It's part of the programming to the character seduction, I guess you would call it.
That's what I'm saying, is that there is the whole place there for anybody to find whatever they want. They don't have to look at cheesy videos on YouTube. In other words, if they want to watch porn, they don't have to pretend and look at that and imagine anything. They can go directly to the source and go watch porn. So what I'm trying to say is, this is part of the thing about YouTube, is there's a bunch of shit on here that's sexual that people don't realize it is, that people get off on it. And that's what was one of the things with all these videos that people were putting. They didn't realize it, but they were putting videos of their kids on the internet, like their children. And there, for a while, I guess there was a big thing where people eating is something that people enjoy watching for some reason, or listening to. people eating shit. There's like whole channels that got millions of subscribers of people just sitting there fucking eating shit. Okay, so people were putting these videos up of their kids eating stuff, and it's like these sick people were watching those videos and getting off on them.
Yeah,
And
you
they
know,
could-
you're filming your 8-year-old like in a family home movie. You know, your 8-year-old kids are out playing in the splash pool, and you think it's like a little moment to savor in the history of your family.
And it is for
you put it up, you put it up on YouTube, and you know you got 9 pervs like looking at your 9-year-old
It's more than
in
9.
in a bathing suit.
It's a way more than 9. It's literally millions of people, and some of these channels got millions and millions of views, man. And that's the whole reason. And they're monetized. These people are literally making money off of it, and they don't realize that this whole other aspect of it is out there. And so they keep putting more and more videos up there with their kids because they're making money.
Yeah.
So they don't even.
I don't know why anybody would want to watch my 8-year-old eating an ice cream cone.
It's too much.
You know,
man.
I kind of, in some respect, think that there are parents who understand what's going on and understand why they're making money and getting all those views, and they're just
I'm just saying, dude,
exploiting it as well. Unfortunately.
Here's you on your 30-foot sailboat. Okay? This is a perfect example. I watched a video like 3 years ago of a dude, this nobody guy, just a regular man. No, he's not buff. He's not good looking. Nothing special about him. But he sailed from Los Angeles to Hawaii by himself. Okay? And he made it, you know, in this tiny little boat. It was like a 24-foot boat. Anyways, the point is here it is 3 years later. The dude's got like a whole channel now, and people have been like throwing money at the guy to the point where he went and bought a boat, and now it's like people are paying him to fucking sail around on his boat. That's his whole channel. That's what he does. He sails around on his boat. Now, there's another guy just like that, only he's got a hot wife, and he's smart enough to say, "Hey, baby, do me a favor. You know, I need to get a JPEG for the cover photo." You know what I mean? It's like, hey, baby, could you please put those yoga pants on? You know, those sweats I know they're comfortable, but I really need a shot for the JPEG for the video, because when he gets a shot of his girlfriend or his wife in some, you know, position, okay, and there's a whole line of videos sitting there, the one with the female in the position is gonna get all the play every time, and they know that shit, dude. I mean, that's what I'm telling you.
That's kind of like marketing 101, isn't
it? Exactly. And so, like, is there something wrong with that girl doing that gardening thing? If she was just doing it in her sweats or whatever, she probably wouldn't have that many subscribers. You know, so it's like a matter of what you want to do. You see what I mean? It's how far.
Well, I look at it as there's a difference between I don't want to really call it clickbaiting, but clickbait and eye candy, and you know, something that might pique your interest, and then there's you know, just exploiting that to be as dirty as possible, just to, you know. There's nothing about that has anything to do with the gardening. That's the point, you know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But the thing is that this is just an example of just any subject out there. It doesn't matter what that subject is. It's the same thing with the alternative media, man. And it's not necessarily, they don't use good-looking women in you know, section.
Oh yeah, it's you won't believe what Putin said last night, or you won't believe what Biden just did, or yeah, it's the same kind of clickbait, really. It's, right? It's clickbait. You know, it's just a different method.
Now, you don't want to see me in yoga pants, man.
No, I definitely do not. And I'm sure the audience is.
That's what I'm.
I mean, well, you know, there's that one person out there who wanted you to send him a picture or something. Maybe you could oblige him with some yoga pants, but
Yeah, that's the one thing. That's the one thing I can't understand. It's like everywhere I go, every single female is in yoga pants, and I'm like, fuck, man. It's like everyone's doing yoga now. There's yoga classes ending every minute. Everywhere I go, there's women just running around their yoga pants like they just got out of yoga class. I guess they're comfortable, man. I don't know.
See, I think Robin just said it best in the chat. She said there's a healthy attraction and then there's unhealthy attraction. Right? There's normal and then there's beyond normal.
Well, I'm glad Phil the Kill just brought up Disney, because we're going to be talking about Astana. And believe it or not, the very man who stayed on to make Astana the great city that it is, he was infatuated with Disney's ideas. So we'll talk about Disney. But I think the Epic Journeyman's rattling around over there somewhere, man. Did he send you a message?
He has not sent me a message.
Huh. Let me go over there and see. Yeah, may be there. He may not. I don't know. We'll have to see. But we are ready to get into this information, as we have been here talking about. I don't know how we went down this road, but point is, seriously, there's a channel where a girl, she has a balloon that's blown up to the point where it's about to burst. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And she's wearing a tight t-shirt. All right? And she's rubbing this balloon, and it's going, ee-ah, 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 ee-ah. And she's getting, because the balloon's about to burst, she knows the balloon's going to pop any second. It's going to blow. And because of that, she starts to get aroused. You get my drift?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's a channel just devoted specifically to that. Just, I know.
Nothing. The sad part is that I find nothing surprising anymore. Nothing. I mean, the world has become so twisted in so many ways. If it's out there, it's on YouTube.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying it
to
really
what it comes down to.
And I'm saying it to our friends over here. I'm just saying, like, if you go back over the past few years and look at some of the shows we did, some of the subjects we cover, some of the discussions we had with some of the people that were on here, and it's like we busted our ass, and man, we can't even get to 1,000 fucking subscribers over on our main channel.
Well, put on some yoga pants and blow up some balloons.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like you're out on the outskirts, man, because you got to be up in these silos, man. And the whole thing's a game. Most of the people that are making the big money on these fucking YouTube channels, they're not in the same game as we are. They have a whole thing going on. They're in a building somewhere where they show up for work. It looks like a house. Hey, Marty, what's happening? So, hang on a second here. Let me see if I can find the Epic Journeyman, because I know he's around somewhere. It's just, I mean, the thing is it's interesting to me. Just how it's not. Here's another interesting aspect to it, too, is the reason that, to me, it may be something, different than it is to you guys. But, I mean, I'm watching these other videos lately. They're like videos where it's just some fucking dude walking down the street somewhere. It could be anywhere. Hey, I'm walking down the street in Germany. Hey, I'm walking down the street here. I'm walking down the street there. You know what I mean? And so I just been watching a bunch of these videos when I'm going to sleep, just people walking around different cities. And it's just the different costumes that people wear in different places to like achieve this goal. You know what I mean? So it's like everywhere on Earth in these nightlife spots, people are going out trying to attract somebody.
Hey, it's the peacock spreading the feathers, right?
Yeah, and they just all wear these different. They have different ways of presenting it. It's like you look down at the Strip in Las Vegas. You see the people walking down. You see how they're dressed. And then you go and look in Brazil, Peru, or Germany, or whatever, England, UK, Australia, any of these places, and you just see the different ways that people are costuming themselves to go out. It's interesting, man. All right, let's see if we get a hold of this dude. Give him a try. Because Skype is now, it's different. So let's see if I can do this without the hassles. Epic Tournament. Are you that?
I am here.
Excellent. Let him out of the box, man.
Man, I'm telling you, I was in the box all day today, man. I was working on an industrial plant.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I swear, man, it's like we're trying to get ready for the bombs or something. I don't know. We're going extra mile. What we got to be on today.
Well, don't get us banned. Don't have them knocking on our door.
Oh, no.
That's right, because tonight, did you have a chance to check out that lecture I sent you?
Oh, no.
No? Okay, well, let's do this. Let's play the lecture now, okay? And I'll stop it at key moments, but this is really gonna touch a lot of subjects. Let me give you a setup on this. So what this guy is, this lecture is that this guy was doing research and he was going to do a thesis on some shit and put a program together for this university. And so this guy is one of 3 experts in the world who can decode Masonic architecture. So there's only 3 guys in the world that do it, and this guy's one of them. So apparently what happened was he was doing some research on Khanshatar, and he found a bunch of this stuff relating to the Illuminati and this and that and the other thing, and he's real interested in it. And then I guess it was some administrative person from the government of Canada, like the foreign minister or something like this, asked him to take the leader of Kazakhstan on a tour of the Masonic architecture in that particular town in Canada. And so then once he was, obviously astounded by that. And so he actually got to meet this guy, and he started to talk to him. And one of the things that he brought up was he called it a foundation story. He said Kazakhstan needs a foundation story, and I was like, what? Foundation story, huh? Yeah, one that describes the architecture and why it's there. I thought to myself, that sounds exactly like what we've been talking about when these resets happen, how there's this rewriting of history. And so it sounds to me like what we got there is a foundation story that changes history. And so that is describing the technology that we see and the foundation story around it. Hey, Betty Davis, what's happening? Hey, Samantha, good to see you. Hey, Vergodden, what's happening, everybody?
Astana's a fascinating place. I mean, built from scratch, right? So I'm sure we'll bring it all up.
Yeah, no, you guys will be blown away. This video, it lasts a bit, so if there's anything comes up you guys want to talk about in the chat or whatever, as you're running a little bit behind me on the video, but just let me know and we'll stop and talk about it. All right, here we go. You guys ready? Rockin Rios, Epic Journeyman, here we go.
Yeah, roll that.
Right from the start is a epitomized in perhaps the three most significant buildings in the capital. The first is the Pyramid of Peace and Reconciliation. It is a modern multi-faith cathedral dedicated to the renunciation of violence and the promotion of faith and human equality. The second building is the Nazarbayev Center, a nonprofit humanitarian educational institution dedicated to nuclear non-proliferation. And finally, the central pavilion of the World Expo site, which is dedicated to the future of energy. And it was recently opened in 2017. What's so extraordinary about the World Expo that no one ever heard of is that it harnessed 5 elements in an entirely new way. First, it encompassed geothermal heat from the earth. It then harnessed the air through wind and kinetic energy, so airflow. Thirdly, it used water in an entirely unique way. Water through an innovative solution wherein rainwater becomes drinking water and used for electric power. And finally, or actually 2 other things, it harnessed the power of the sun through solar energy and ether, the space, earth, air, water, fire, and ether, the 5 elements in an entirely new, exotic way and formula for the sustainability of the planet. The World Expo no one ever heard of. Now, you might be wondering what on earth compelled me to do an exhaustive 4-year study of this extraordinary capital, and that it happened by sheer accident. I was preparing a graduate course in the spring of 2013 dedicated to what was a subject of deep fascination for me. It was the notion of building paradise on earth, or utopia. And I wanted to provide a chronology of world, times, and places where there was this effort to build paradise on earth. I framed this course for graduate students at the University of Manitoba and the Department of Architecture from Atlantis to Astana. I thought that was a good way to frame it. Plato's Atlantis to Nazarbayev's Astana. So laying the groundwork for the course, you begin on the internet. And I started searching through popular topics of simply just type into Google after this lecture, Astana plus architecture, and you will find yourself plunged down a rabbit hole of popular misconceptions about Kazakhstan. That it is the sun-worshipping capital of Zionist Freemasons, that its buildings are energetically lined together, linked to the pyramid at Giza, and that the city's master plan is actually really a magical diagram devised by totalitarian world government, aka the Illuminati. So you could imagine my utter amazement. I mean, this is where, you know, art mimics reality in such a profound way. You can imagine my utter amazement when I'm going down this rabbit hole of, and by the way, I've carved out a very niche career. That is, I've become a specialist in the architecture of secret societies. That makes me one of about 3 other people in the world that were my 2 supervisors at the University of Cambridge. So there were 3 people that had a penchant for looking at the architecture of Freemasonry. So you could imagine my total amazement when I'm looking at all of this stuff that I'd never heard of Astana. And at that very moment, I couldn't make this up, no joke, I get a phone call. And it was the protocol officer of Manitoba, where from time to time, as Patrick outlined, I will get invited to give tours to dignitaries, architectural tours to dignitaries that visit Manitoba. So the Prince of Wales, when he comes to Winnipeg, they say, hey, why don't you do that Hermetic Code tour of the Manitoba Ledge for the Prince of Wales? So my utter amazement is that the protocol officer of Manitoba asked me if I was free to give a tour to the ambassador of Kazakhstan and his wife, who had just come to Winnipeg, and he thought it would be interesting that they get a Masonic tour of the Manitoba Ledge. So I'm looking at my phone, and every tab on my computer screen reads the Illuminati, architecture, Freemasonry, they are watching. Okay, bring, and there I go. So I said, okay, on one condition. Can I meet the ambassador for breakfast first? And so a deal was struck. And what happened was I met him for breakfast, and I did something that was rather brash. I extended my hand to him and I said, sir, very nice to meet you. I know what you're doing. And he said, okay, this is my wife, Dr. Alba, what am I doing? I said, well, you're doing what every other great civilization has done since the dawn of time. Okay, what's that? I said, you're using monumental architecture to announce that you've arrived on the world stage. And that got his attention. He said, that's correct, that is what we're doing. I said, but you're missing something. Okay, what am I missing? I said, you need a foundation myth. A foundation myth. And he said, what's a foundation myth? I said, a foundation myth had been central to the rise of great capitals since the earliest settlement sites in Sumer and Mesopotamia. Foundation myth, a myth that galvanizes your architecture and your city. Because for everybody else, it looks like the Illuminati capital of the world. And he said, that is a great idea. Who's going to do that? And 4 years hence is this study. So what happened was at this impromptu meeting with the ambassador of Kazakhstan, as I'm looking at the architecture of Astana for the very first time, allowed me to do something that I've never done before, and that was take my entire body of scholarship in reverse. That was, rather than decode Masonic buildings, monuments, gardens, cemeteries, I would encode a fictitious Masonic capital with foundation myth. One that will be as compelling as every other theory that exists on the capital, and in fact, I would argue, perhaps even more so, because it involves each one of you.
So, did you see that? The foundation myth. So, he's now, you know, he's like us now. He heard about Astana. He went and he typed Astana in on the internet, and he got the Astana capital of the Illuminati. Da-da-da-da. Now, this guy is no fucking joke, all right? This is a serious dude, and he's about to really break some shit off that I think is really some good food for thought for everybody. And there's some key moments in here. But I mean, overall, he's really going to dispel a lot of that shit. Go ahead. What, you guys going to say something?
Yeah, I dropped the link to in the chat there for the astanamyth.com website. There's some excellent pictures of overviews of Astana and showing the golden phoenix and the pool and the pyramid and some other stuff. It's obviously they're there to sell the book, but it's got some really high quality pictures of exactly what you're looking at, and you can just look at the first picture and you can see the golden phoenix and the pyramid and the circles and the arches on each side of the bay and the temple in the background with the pole and the ball on the top and the two towers of the two pillars, as it were, the Masonic
Joachim and Boaz.
Yeah, that's it. And then in a lot of ways it's funny because when you look down from the skyward view, it has a lot of similarity to Washington, D.C.
Well, that's what they're going to talk about. That's what he's going to talk about. He's going to talk about the Vesica of Pisces and how everything is designed that way. And it's going to really has to do with sacred architecture like we've talked about before. That is what the Masons do, is build. And that's why they're called the builders, Anyway, so let's check him out. Here he comes.
Now, let me just say that Astana is not the Illuminati capital of the world. And why? Well, because the real Illuminati instead emerged in 1776 from a student circle surrounding a charismatic professor of canon law, Adam Weishaupt. And at the University of Ingolstadt, he established a kind of 18th century equivalent to Berkeley flower power. The Illuminati incorporated esoteric rituals in an effort for political aspirations. Their esoteric rituals were born almost in toto from Freemasonry. And what they did is that they wanted to do one thing, and that was replace the Roman Catholic hegemony ruling over Bavaria and replace it with an ideal liberal government. A liberal government that would go through exhaustive lessons in moral deprogramming. They wanted to remove education from the clerical authority. They wanted to raise people that would be reared on Enlightenment philosophy and rational inquiry. Not so nefarious after all. Now, the Illuminati, it was very short-lived. It dissolved in 1785. That means that it existed for 9 years. In fact, the only remaining original art of the Illuminati was one that I found in the Stadtmuseum in Ingolstadt when I went to see and investigate the original writings of the Illuminati about 10 years ago. And when I went...
Okay, so this dude, because of his credentials, he went to where this original Illuminati writings are to go see them. And because of all the thousands and thousands of hours that have been talked about and all the stuff that's been said about the Illuminati, you guys are going to be blown away by what this guy's going to say. Listen to what he says when he goes to the place and talks to the guy. Listen to this.
The archivist, I said to him, I'm one of the countless thousands of people that have come here for one purpose. I would like to see the original writings of the Bavarian Order of the Illuminati. And he pulled down his glasses, looked at me strangely, and said, well, I've worked here for 30 years, and you are the second person to ever ask for them.
He's worked there for 30 years, and this is only the second person who's ever asked to read the actual Illuminati writings after all that's been said about it. Is that a mind blower, dude? Seriously.
Yeah, well, everybody out there who's, claiming they've read the documents and are experts and we've got all the papers. I guess he didn't show up to ask for them 30 years ago either.
That's what I'm saying. So like, that's what I mean. If you type in Astana, okay, you're going to get all that Illuminati stuff, but you're not going to hear this guy at all. And so only, as a microcosm, I'm just saying this is just one small aspect of the material that people talk about. And because of our agreement reality, we're automatically quick to just go ahead and believe it all. And without, actual investigation.
It's interesting because it's a double-edged sword, right?
Right.
They're talking about creating Astana as the new Illuminati capital of the New World Order and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
But on the other hand, we see that same symbolism that they've designed into Astana in London, in Washington, in, other Moscow and other places all across the world, in China as well, right? Those same symbols show up, the pyramids, the eye and the pole with the ball on the top for the sun guy. That's ancient Egyptian. I mean,
I know.
It's been around for centuries. Right?
Well, it's funny.
It is Masonic architecture, right? It is that style. But is it the new Illuminati capital?
No.
Or is it
But it's
just
the capital.
designed in the same vein as all the other capitals?
It's the capital of the New World Order for sure. There's no question about that. But this guy,
Of course it is. But that's
what this guy is doing though is is it even, who is he? Is he a Mason? You know what I mean? I don't know who this guy is, but he's deflecting some of the Illuminati stuff, which I can go with it. I can go with that. Bill Cooper's Mystery Babylon, there's like 33 of those. Those are really good. I mean, I've checked out those many, many times over the years. But even,
well, my question was, it's kind of like this: is it the new Illuminati capital because of the way they built it, or did they build it that way because it's an Illuminati capital?
They built it that way because that is the technique that we've been talking about from antiquity. That is part of it, Pale Horse is Dispo agent. Just stand by, Pale Horse. Stand by, man. By the end of the video,
Well, the exposition thing's no coincidence either, right?
right.
Like so many things we're building these expositions we've talked about, specific ones.
Mm-hmm.
For this one to have this exposition that basically nobody knows about, but also introduces this architecture to the world.
Yeah, right. The
Pretty fascinating.
World Fair in 1939, right? We talked about the one, was it in the 1860s?
1898, yeah.
1898.
These
yeah,
guys
okay.
had one specifically built around the future energy and how cities will be built and all this. So once we get past this Illuminati stuff, he'll start getting into some of the buildings, the symbolisms, and the Vesica of Pisces, man. It's really important. It's really, really important. I mean, as far as any of this stuff goes.
And why? Because we don't go back to the sources. Go to the sources. And if you do, you find something far more compelling than what you find percolating on the internet. So, it's just remarkable that this rudimentary ceiling mural, the only remaining piece of art of the Bavarian Order of the Illuminati, a short-lived, highly ineffectual secret society, has become such a countercultural obsession, especially among the giants of the hip-hop industry. But albeit for me to question that Jay-Z and Kanye West did not.
Okay, so listen to what he says right now. So he's saying that the hip-hop community has embraced the Illuminati or whatever. But listen to what he says right now about it, about what you had to do to be a member, what you had to read. And he lists some authors, and he asks the question, I wonder if these two guys have read these books. So it's just check it out, man.
Have a very fine reading in the writings of Rousseau, infamous symbol in all myth. You need to incorporate esoteric rituals in an effort.
Sorry, you guys, I bumped.
As we don't go back to the sources. Go to the sources. And if you do, you find something far more compelling than what you find percolating on the internet. So, it's just remarkable that this rudimentary ceiling mural, the only remaining piece of art of the Bavarian Order of the Illuminati, a short-lived, highly ineffectual secret society, has become such a countercultural obsession, especially among the giants of the hip-hop industry. But albeit for me to question that Jay-Z and Kanye West did not have a very fine reading in the writings of Rousseau, Helvetius, or Adam Smith, as the Bavarian Order of the Illuminati did. Their students were forced to read the works of the Enlightenment. I don't know. Leave it to me. I will just throw that out there. So what I did is that in order to write a foundation myth, you need to have three basic ingredients. You need to go to archaeology, you need to have some form of monumental art, and you finally need a compelling narrative. So it was just further shocking for me to find that there were three great discoveries, archaeological discoveries, that happened in Kazakhstan in the last 5 years that most people haven't heard of. The first is that we discovered that there are late Bronze Age pyramids, step pyramids, found in Kazakhstan. How many people, raise your hands, knew that there were step pyramids recently found in Kazakhstan? One person. Okay. The other thing is that we found the world's largest pentagram carved on the side of a desolate lake in Kazakhstan, identified by Google Earth as the Devil Pentagram. Go on Google Earth, type in Devil Pentagram, and you will find this exact location on the Upper Togo Reservoir called the Satan's Pentagram, the Devil Pentagram, a 1,200-foot clearly marked pentagram. And finally was the discovery of immense geoglyphs carved onto the Kazakh steppe. About 100 of these appear. They're like the Central Asian equivalent to the Nazca lines in Peru, except this collection were vast. I mean, some of them were 260 meters wide, like the square, or the very first emblem of perhaps the most notorious, infamous symbol in all world culture, a swastika. That is the earliest description that we have of a swastika. So, pyramids, pentagram, swastika. So I have your attention. Now, though widely associated with Nazi ideology, the swastika was, in fact, a benevolent symbol of Indo-European origin and is found in the ancient Sanskrit text for Vedic architectural theory as the ideal way of making and constructing a capital city. These are just ideas for you to think about. In order to create a foundation myth, I need to operate at the level of our imagination.
In order to create a foundation myth, I have to operate at the level of our imagination. This foundation myth, I think this guy is exposing
Disney.
Go ahead.
Oh, Disney.
Yeah,
right.
he's coming up on it. So Nazarbayev, the guy who built Khanshatar here, I'll just let them tell you. I'll let him tell you.
Based on real archaeological sources and facts. Now, what is also largely unknown is that 5,500 years ago, ancient Central Asian nomads developed 3 key innovations that shaped the modern world. The first is that they were the first to domesticate the horse. Now, you might think of this today as being like, what's the big deal? Domesticating the horse? Well, in 5,500 years ago, domesticating the horse meant that you could travel vast distances and learn from a variety of cultures. Now, we know that the earliest domesticated villages in the bow tie culture is where we have evidence of, in fact, an area very near modern Astana is where the horse was first domesticated. The other thing, and this doesn't take much great revelation, was the invention of the wheel and axle, found in the areas surrounding Kazakhstan. Now, through trial and error in the Karaganda region, the wheel and axle was used as a farming implement and later had a completely different function. And then finally is the birthplace of Proto-Indo-European language. Now, I have a colleague of mine from that we did studies in ancient languages at the University of Toronto who might appreciate that Proto-Indo-European is the mother tongue, okay? This is just an illustration that gives you an idea of where our languages come from. So think of all of the languages of Europe, including English, derived from a mother tongue. And from the branches of this tree, there's a way of constructing a way of looking at myths as well. Ma, wa, fa, mother, father, water. Those words are 15, 20,000 years old, and they derive from a trunk of a tree, very ancient, deriving from this area of the world. So, when you look at this glorious relief of Tiglath-Pileser, what you're seeing is the silent accomplishments of Central Asian nomads. The wheel, language, and the horse. Instruments that were then used for war. So, the cradle of civilization has silent partners, and those are in Central Asia. And perhaps one of the oldest elements of Central Asia is the notion of the veneration of the sky. And so these ideas and these typologies find a place in Astana, particularly with the Khanshatar Entertainment Center. This is the world's largest outdoor tent built in Astana by the British architect Norman Foster. Now, what it is it doubles as both a retail mall and an ideological space for imagining Kazakh identity. At the very center of it are 3 large masts that meet around a central ring. And this ring is known in Kazakh heritage as a shanirak. And this is the dome, or the central sphere, the gate of the sky, which was used as a device that was passed down from father to son and father to son, going back thousands of years. The very notion of the yurt is ancient, but used in a modern context. Now, these ideas derive from a much older notion.
So he's making this shit up. Okay? What he's doing is he's showing you this architecture of this giant tent, and he's saying the reason that tent is there is because this goes way back to the original peoples of the deserts who were living in these yurts. and all this and shit. He's legitimizing just the same way he's making this real, okay, about this tent that they built. He's making the story up and making it real, just like they did when they told us about the buildings that were there before we got here. The same way they did, they made up a creation myth about everything. That's the same thing that he's talking about. They're taking stuff and making a storyline about it, and this is exactly what we've been talking about, if you ask me. What do you guys think about this? He's about to. We're about to close out on this. All the main information's about to come on. So this has all just been building up to it. So go ahead. You guys want to jump in on that? No? Okay, here we go.
Which is,
Go ahead. What do you say? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Epic.
No, I was just going to say that, yeah, we talk about this stuff a lot, and we brought up Astana before in the past too. But the thing that's really interesting about it is, like, it's the new Silk Road, it's the new nexus of all these things for the future, right? That are planned. Yeah. It's a planned city that's been planned for a long time, and this idea of a origin story that he's basically making up is incorporating all the mythos. You set the thing up for it.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
Where it just kind of appeared out of nowhere for a lot of people when it first started showing up, you know, on everybody's just radar, you know.
That was their big problem. Yeah, that was their big problem. So now
the whole city sprung up, 2017, right? It was just all of a sudden it was there. They built it over the course of a few years, you know, putting billions of dollars a year into that architecture and layout and whatever, and it just popped up. And now suddenly there's a whole history behind it.
Yeah,
but it's only a few years old. I mean, literally only a few. Was it 2017? I think, right?
It's at the steps of the Himalayas, man. You know what I mean? It borders China. It's part of Russia. There was just big problems there, and that's kind of why we're bringing it up, because there was just a big problem there before this whole thing started, before the whole invasion thing started. Right before there, they were busting people in Kazakhstan over this measures. They weren't be able to get their money out of the bank. They were busting people for mining Bitcoin. They were breaking illegal Bitcoin miners who were using energy. So it's pretty interesting. So that's why this is going on. So and that's why we wanted to bring it up tonight. And I found this guy's lecture really interesting. And like I say, the real money shot of this information is about to all come at the end here. It's going to close it out with all the shit. Here you go. Ready? Here we go.
Our veneration of mountains.
And I just want to point out, have you ever noticed that this, isn't that Mount Everest? It looks like a four-sided pyramid.
Khanshatar, which derives its name from the highest mountain range in Kazakhstan, the Khan Tengri mountain range, is this pyramidal peak is meant to venerate the sky god Tengri. Tengri, one of the oldest words of identifying the sky and the supreme celestial deity of the sky, Dingir, Tengri. This idea of venerating the sky is why you have so much blue in Kazakhstan. You see all of their buildings are purposely made to be blue as an imagery of the sky over and over again, so much so that the government put stipulations that the building facades must reflect the national colors of the sky and gold representing the sun. And you see it over and over again. So it's just remarkable to think that this capital should come from such humble origins. This is the first building built in Astana, and it is...
So their colors are blue and gold. Did you hear that? What color is Ukraine?
Yeah, blue and gold. Them's Chargers.
Dude, I don't know, man. There may be some significance here.
Stunning capital finds
today wearing the yellow and gold.
What'd you
gold
say?
And blue, rather.
Who did?
The new cosmonauts got to the International Space Station today. They relieved the last crew, and they were wearing the Russian cosmonauts, right? They were wearing
even if you look at the Russian flag, it's red, blue, and gold. There's red in there, but the
Yeah, I mean, it's the petrodollar is over and the new brick dollars are in and the Silk Road is on and those ghost cities will be filled. And the world's going to change, man. And, you know, we're at that moment. Trump signed us off, man, during his presidency when he signed that $7 trillion for the bailout. That was the bankrupt of the United States, and ever since then we've been being looted. And now the looting's over and the stock market's about getting ready to crash. And when it's over, Astana's going to be the head of the new world order.
It's inspiration from a rather uninspiring military garrison built by Cossacks in 1830. By 1961, this is what modern-day Astana looked like, Seleningrad. And Seleningrad became eventually Astana. And so when you're looking at Astana, which became a capital in 1997, is that the period from 1997 to 2017, a period of 20 years, you find this remarkable emergence. It's kind of like the story of the little train that could. Where they got the wealth to do so, everyone wants to know where. How did they get a budget of $5 billion per year on state architecture projects? Where does the money come from? Well, Kazakhstan is very lucky in that it is endowed with 5 natural resources: oil, gas, gold, diamonds, uranium. That's called a full house of natural resources. So, this is the figure that who is really Astana. You see, you can't have a capital without a hero behind it. And this is, I will let you know, the Tom Brady of contemporary autocrats. I mean, love him or hate him, this guy wins Super Bowls. He was born in the most humble dwellings in a yurt in southern Kazakhstan, rose up to the highest levels of the Soviet Politburo, eventually took over the governorship of Kazakhstan, and decided to do something totally bizarre and strange when they had a beleaguered healthcare system. They had nothing but failure. Yet he said, we need to build a capital. Now, what's very strange about this man is that he has zero training in architecture, yet he penned a remarkable work of architectural theory called The Heart of Eurasia, where he explored the philosophy of symbolism, architecture, and the power of architecture to galvanize the dreams of a nation. So this guy, Nursultan Nazarbayev, the president of Kazakhstan, found and actually took his inspiration from the most unlikely source. America's most successful urban planner, most successful entrepreneur, proto-Freemason and anti-Semite, Walt Disney. Now you might think that's totally ridiculous. What does Nursultan Nazarbayev have to do with Walt Disney? Well, both men sought to construct an entirely new civic identity steeped in the architecture of hyper-reality. Yes, that is a giant UFO.
Steeped in the architecture of hyper-reality. Hyper-reality is something that's talked about in postmodernist deconstructionism as people that are living in a world that is divided between technology and the regular world. And the hyper-reality is when they would rather live in the technological rather than the real world. So hyper-reality. So Disney wanted to create the architecture of hyper-reality. Now, here's Kazakhstan. And look at right there, the UFO right in the city. See it? You can't see it, Epic. You guys can't see it. You guys want me to share my screen?
So the circus.
You want me to share my screen? Huh? Okay.
Astana is a UFO. And so what both men did is that they knew that hyperreality, myth, and the imagination was a way of constructing a new civic identity. They shared the same dream. Yet, more than just simply a pioneer of the animation industry, Walt Disney was dedicated the last 30 years of his life to deriving solutions to the problems of a modern city. And for him, the total problem of contemporary society can be rooted in cities. And that spurred him to develop the most ambitious project in Walt Disney's life, which was in 1966, called the Epcot Center, the Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow, where he had a radio plan with a glass dome, which carries a stark reminder of the radio plan and glass dome of Astana. And if you look at this crystalline super temple, the Baitira Tower, it's meant to symbolize the shared hopes and dreams of the regenerated Kazakh society. And in the very same way that Walt Disney envisioned Earth as spaceship planet Earth, a geodesic sphere that serves as perhaps the most iconic feature of Walt Disney's World Resort at Epcot. And it parallels, in many respects, Astana's World Expo Pavilion, although it is dubbed by Kazakhs as the Dark Star.
So people in Kazakhstan call that big earth thing in the middle of their city structure, they call it the Dark Star. Interesting, eh?
Kind of like the Black Sun, right?
Yeah.
Or the Death Star from Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. A couple minutes left.
So, in its original form, Epcot Center was designed as a model utopian community for 20,000 residents, interlocked by state-of-the-art monorail system. And
I just want to say that these layouts look astonishingly like the Antiquitech stuff, and some of the lines and shit that are left over that you can see from the sky. It looks the same. Looks exactly the same. And I honestly think they've recreated some of this Antiquitech type ideas around this, and maybe they just build buildings that look like it. Okay, it doesn't seem so. Really seems like they got something going there.
by a green belt. Astana and Epcot both share a magical kingdom centered upon nationalistic fairy tales and utopian aspirations of a master planned community. So, the first question that I set out in my little reminder asking you guys to come here is, what on earth does Astana have to do with Walt Disney? Now you know. Now, the most noticeable thing about Astana is the profound role geometry plays in its design. This is not Las Vegas. This is not Egypt. This is Astana. Triangles, circles, squares, and even a vesica piscis form the major monuments of the capital. A vesica piscis? What the heck is a vesica piscis? Well, there it is there. That is a central concert hall for Kazakhstan in the shape of two circles interlocked at their center, forming, this is the plan of the concert hall, forming the very first postulate of Euclid's elements. How do you form an equilateral triangle? From two interlocking circles at their midpoint. And what was so extraordinary about the vesica piscis is that, and this ended up being a chapter in my dissertation, is that it was, for medieval Freemasons, the most advanced system of architectural knowledge. It was known as the secret of the Freemasons. Everybody that's wondering what the secrets of the Freemasons are, it's architecture. It's an architectural community. They swear oaths not to reveal the sign, points, parts, symbols, strokes of the hidden mysteries of Freemasonry rooted in geometry. And this system of geometry, seemingly facile, is actually quite advanced. Because if you take a system of interlocking circles, you could determine the length, plans, and elevations of Gothic cathedrals. That is mind-blowing. You have to imagine that with the most rudimentary hand tools, a square, a compass, and a plumb line, these great master builders built the great cathedrals of Europe using one simple symbol, which you find over and over again in medieval church arcading, illuminated manuscripts, stained glass theophanies, and in the mind of Renaissance architects. It's the reification of geometry that led to the design of ideal cities. The whole notion of actually building an ideal capital city derives from the Renaissance, and the Italian architects of the 15th century wanted to create a perfectly planned city that would achieve noble ends, and the citizenry would be lifted out of darkness, vice, and chaos simply by having a geometrically ordered system of public squares, streets, perfectly clean buildings, arcades, porticos that all conform to harmony-producing laws, proportions, and sacred numbers.
Forgive me if my fantasies might seem a little sharp and worn. I'm sure you've heard it all before. I wonder what's the right form. Love song written for you. It's been going down for years. But to sing what's in my heart seems more honest than the tears. I am curious. You wanna hurry us? I'm intrigued with us. Ain't this song a bust? I don't care. Rock star. I met you several years ago. The times that were so strange, but I had a figured out.
Mothership has landed. Pirate Radio. Welcome to the jungle.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from the broken down, low rent, sleazy, double greasy Pirate Radio Nut Hut Studios, it's time for the very first ever Southern.
Attention. Attention, please.
Right now, it's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines,
Clocks for now. Time's up. Wind is blowing cold and dark. On the road and no way out. Broken house, the smoking gun.
Yes, the same kind of story seems to come down from long ago. Two friends having coffee together when something flies by their window. It might be out on that lawn, which is wide at least half of a playing field. Because there's no explaining what your imagination can make you see and feel. Somebody needs my...
Hello there. On behalf of Walt, we want to welcome you to the 1964 World's Fair. As a token of his appreciation for your continued partnership and support, we have put together this commemorative album, which revolves around his favorite moments. Moments that may be best enjoyed as companions to the attractions themselves. Because we believe each attraction will live on for generations to come, we hope you take pleasure in the message of progress that each has to offer. Now, without any further ado, may the reverie begin.
There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day. There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow is just a dream away. Man has a dream, and that's the start. He follows his dream with mind and heart.
And when it becomes a reality, it's a dream come true for you and me. So there's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day. There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, just a dream away.
Good. Looks like the robins are getting ready to celebrate Valentine's Day today.
For Walt and the Society, this is a passion project that ensures things could be
better than they are today.
And in fact, they are. Maybe not in this world, but in a new world to come.
The moving pictures flicker up on a big screen.
We have immersive motion pictures that can show you this world, where we can travel using our minds to prepare our bodies for the inevitable physical journey.
And I even hear tell about two brothers in North Carolina.
Our immersive motion pictures also reveal flying contraptions with the power to reach any moon, any planet. The same power to drive these contraptions can be used to power appliances, transportation, global communications, to power people, to power peace.
Oh, boy, it sure beats chopping wood. And isn't our new icebox?
The icebox. There are so many innovations that we keep on ice, ready to share with you and the rest of the world with your support if you choose to step with us through that door.
Carry water from a well. And thanks to progress
and the work of the Society, the dreams of tomorrow can be made manifest today.
Yes, sir. We've got everything we need to make life easier. Say, Mother, I was reading about a fellow named Tom Edison
who worked
on an idea
that paved the road to this new world.
Electric lights?
Oh, the Society has come so far in so little time, and we look forward to showing you the heart of the project. The advancements we have made are nothing short of electrifying. They will spark change in the lives of people everywhere.
Oh, that's right, folks. Now Sarah has time for other things like
canning and cleaning the oven.
Yes, two things that can be easily powered using the natural energy that surrounds all of us.
Probably never will.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to get the laundry off the line before it starts raining cats and dogs.
Don't worry. After testing this revolutionary technology, we've been able to harness not just the energy we can see, but the energy we can't.
All you have to do is put your wash on the line, right? Oh, well, the cistern was low anyway.
Wow-wee, look at that.
This energy is free, and it's for everyone.
We're using my new stereoscope. It's not a toy, you know.
Ooh la la.
We can light cities without consuming a single resource.
Isn't she a knockout? She's the star of
the Old World's Fair in Chicago.
Now, you put that away before your mother finds it.
Aw, Dad.
We can enjoy the modern extravagances of mankind without wasting a bit of nature's precious beauty.
It plays music right here in our home.
There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. She keeps that thing going all day long. Progress.
The world will be lauding our progress for days, months, generations to come, the moment we are prepared to trust them with it. The world can take this free energy to create their own innovations that will further drive progress without overtaxing the precious energy of our citizens. By tapping into this natural energy, the world can focus on using the most renewable resource on the face of this planet, people's creativity.
Now, you be home by 9 o'clock, daughter. You hear me?
Jefferson Starship. All right, there it is. That is a Plus Ultra is a secret society. Make-believe secret society that supposedly had to do with Disney and Tesla and Edison and Eiffel and Gustav, what's his nuts? The movie Tomorrowland is one that you should check out. If you guys have nothing to do this weekend and want to watch a good movie, check it out. Tomorrowland. They're flying around on tactile particles, skipping into the future back and forth. It's an interesting concept. So you guys there?
Mm-hmm.
Jump on in here, man, because I'm going to run inside.
Makes me think of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, right?
Yeah. Let me run inside.
Updated.
Hey, Gray Beast, what's happening? Yeah, that is a good solo. Is that Marty Ballin on there? Who is that playing guitar on that Jane? On that
Oh yeah, it should be.
Star. Yeah, Marty Ballin was one cool brother, man. I'll tell you that. He was doing solo shows. We had the company that I worked for was doing monitors for those shows. And that dude was a cool Mo-D, man. He just come out, man, just had this poncho on, just roll out in his sneakers, play a show, and just go away. Jump in his car and leave.
Plus some tachyon impulses back to the past.
Exactly. No, you just it's just imagine being that guy where you just pull up in your car until the moment you step on stage, you're just like everybody else. You're pulling up in your car, you know. You're walking around, you're getting a soda, and then you just walk up there and boom, you're on stage, rip a show, play a blasting show, and then just get back off in your car and drive home, you know, because it shows up in Marin County. You know, it's just down the street or whatever. Jerry Garcia showed up. You know, it's like that. So
like Springsteen always shows up in Jersey, right? Back in the day.
Yeah. So jump in here, so you guys, so I can go get some coffee, man. Yeah.
Some to Rio.
No, yeah, Andy, exactly. No, we've done a few shows on Plus Ultra. There's a bunch of people that said that Trump was actually a member of this so-called secret society. Tracy, trying to remember her last name. Anyways, I'll remember it when I go get my coffee. You guys, there you go. I'll be right back.
Okay. Right. So, what's your week been like there, Rio?
What's that?
So what's your week been like? I've been traveling around all week, so I've been out of the loop. All I've seen is heard is news stuff about Ukraine. I haven't that work, you know, to the grindstone, basically, pretty much for me.
My week's been reasonably normal, I guess. Few changes going on, but nothing I haven't expected or out of the ordinary. You know, I've been in Corvette hell for the last week, so you know, that's pretty much it. Nothing
right.
Nothing really new to report. It's just been a busy week of work. We finally got a nice day today. It snowed a couple days ago and all melted. It was actually 70 and sunny today, and it's supposed to be back in, I think, the 40s tomorrow. But you know, the weather is a little weird. I wonder who's toying with that at this point, because it doesn't seem to be natural.
Yeah, I was wondering about that with the whole thing with the progress of the army over there in Ukraine, right? I mean, it's so dependent on the weather. Yeah, and so when these people get stuck out in the cold, and the marching army gets stuck out in the cold, and they run out of fuel, they're out there literally freezing to death. You know, and then it thaws, and they can't get anywhere because of the bog and the mud. If you had some weather weaponry to use, now would be the time to use it, right?
Well, I kind of think that they've been playing with the weather for a while now. I mean, hurricanes making weird maneuvers, and you know, it snows, then it's 70, then it snows, then it's 70, then it snows. I mean, that's just not normal. It was never like this when I was a kid, right? It was cold in the winter and hot in the summer, and there was springtime in between. And now it's just, you know, for the last few years, it goes right from being like 30 degrees to being 75, 80 degrees, and there's really no spring. There's no like gradual warm up. There's no 2 weeks of 50s and 60s. It's one to the other. And I'm sure some of it is, environmental damage. I'm sure some of it is solar cycles and all the, natural occurrence. But I'm pretty sure things are being played with. And,
I've noticed
given the
weather for a
state
long time,
that
too.
everything else is in, it wouldn't really surprise me.
I think the first time I noticed what we call yo-yo weather was probably back in the late 70s or early 80s, so not like it is today, but to where people really talked about, like, what the hell? Like you're just saying how to be snowing and it'd be 70 degrees. And then, in fact, it snowed in Tucson, Arizona the day that my family moved to San Diego in 1972. We're packing up the U-Haul and it snowed in Tucson, like actual urban Tucson. And it never happened before, like on record, going back to the pioneer days.
Well, we've always had like strange occurrences, right? I mean, I remember even years ago there was, it was like a little gradual warming spell in the middle of January where it was like 70 degrees, but it kind of like it warmed up to that, and then it went back to being, kind of gradually went to being cold again over like the course of a week or two. It wasn't like it flip-flopped every day. It was a warm spell because of the way the jet stream moved or whatever. So, I mean,
right.
Strange, it was bizarre that it was a week of 70 degrees. I remember because I took my bike out and I was riding my bike in the middle of January. I thought it was the craziest thing. But, now it's like from one day to the next. And it's never really been like that before.
Well, I noticed once it started, that it became more normal, right? Like, I think it snowed a couple times in Arizona, obviously, since not just Arizona, I mean Tucson. It snows in Arizona all the time up in the upcountry there, but you got pine forest and stuff, high elevation stuff on Flagstaff and Payson and all that kind of thing. But yeah, down in Phoenix and Tucson, that's a real rarity, And it seems like once the doors were open, basically, I won't say it happened in the 70s. That was pretty early, 72. But there's all kinds of fluke weather things like raining fishes and that kind of thing, right? But raining frogs.
I guess the best way to put it is even back in the 70s and 80s, it was a smoother curve, right? It was like more like a sine wave as temperatures went up and down or the weather changed. It kind of was more gradual. Now it's like these sharp spikes. Yeah, and it's very sudden. It's very bizarre, and I would say probably for the last, 5-10 years or more, it really has always felt like there's something wrong with it to me. Like, this is just not normal. This is not how it's supposed to be, and especially like, I mean, I get it. If you're living in Southern California or, in the south of France, you get that Mediterranean weather. It's sunny all year round, or like you're in Hawaii, it's generally warm all year round. But here in the Northeast, we're supposed to have 4 very distinct seasons, and we used to have them, right? We used to have full-blown winter where it snowed for 3 months, and then it would gradually warm up, and the spring flowers would come out, and it'd be in the 50s, 60s, maybe low 70s for a while. And then summertime, July and August, you'd have the 90, 100-degree days on occasion. And then, fall, you got the leaves dropping. In the last few years, it's been like the end of August, and all of a sudden September hits and it starts getting a little chilly, and then the leaves drop. Like, we don't have like weeks of beautiful fall foliage anymore. It's like a week, it's not a whole month of it. And then it goes right to being like bitter cold. We're not getting as much snow as normal, but it's freezing cold. And every once in a while, we'll just throw in a 75 or 80-degree day just to spice it up a little bit. It's so weird.
So in the summertime, are you getting the burnt trees that Jimmy sees up there in Santa Cruz, where you've seen them on the deciduous trees and the pines and stuff like that, where you're actually getting the burnt canopy?
No, we generally don't get the burnt canopy thing. Here, like if there's a real hot stretch in August or something, we'll get like a lot of dead grass, a lot of brown grass. Usually the trees don't get scorched like what he sees. And there again, I think this tree scorching that's going on in California is not natural either. I think there's something more to that.
It doesn't seem like it, no. It doesn't at all. Well, the reason we're talking about now, I think, is because there's nothing more common to talk about than the weather, right? I mean, that's the thing that people have talked about for as long as people have been walking Earth. They start talking about the weather, and the weather's gotten so strange and unpredictable that it's almost like a lot of things that have happened in the world around us that distracts us from talking about the most simple thing. And if you just took the moment to talk about it, really ask the question, why is it like that? You know, maybe we can be onto something, because there's no question that whatever's happening is happening more frequently, and it's becoming increasingly more dramatic with each passing year. And we say it's climate change, and okay, that's great, but it's not just climate change. It's like we're talking about scorched canopies of trees. It's about these sharp spikes happening, these drop-offs and things.
Well, I mean, I do believe that some of it is solar activity, and some of it is, you know, the magnetic poles of the Earth wandering around, and, you know, natural occurrence, just the cycles of the way things are. You know, of course, we destroyed the ozone layer with all the Aquanet in the 80s.
Well, a big great bug spray.
Yeah,
bug spray and flamethrowers, man. It's great. It's best for that.
So, and you know, so pollution, I'm sure, is a big factor in it. But, you know, I mean, even the other day they came out and they were talking, and I think we actually covered this recently about cloud seeding and stuff, you know, and they said, oh yeah, the chemtrails are real. We've been doing it for years. You know, and it was like right on I think it was Channel 4 News. They just like openly came right out and says, yeah, we've been spraying stuff from airplanes for years. Just, you know, suddenly now the crazy conspiracy theory is truth. And they've admitted it in the past, obviously, you know,
like
scientists
in 2004,
admitted it.
yeah, a long time ago.
But it was just recently, like a week or two ago, that they came right out and called them chemtrails and said, oh yeah, that stuff's real. We've been doing it for a while. Like it's no big deal. I mean, you people are just picking up on this. We've been doing this for years. You know, and
Gates program. That's what I think's funny is like he's had this program this whole time. A lot of people hate Gates, of course, but they should hit him for this. The fact that this has been a plan that he's had for a long time. To does he call it solar shield? He might be the one that named it solar shield. But the idea that you have these seeded what we would call chemtrails, right? To grade the sky and reflect back the sun into the back into space, right? To halt, you know, some of the warming. Meanwhile, we get to live under the gray skies, right?
Yeah, but you know, the funny part is you got all these scientists running around and talking about the global warming and the climate change, and you know, they give it whatever name. Back in the 70s, they were talking about the ice age coming. So we went from, you know, we're going to be into a next ice age in the year 2020. Well, here we are in 2020. We're going, oh, the planet's getting too hot from all the greenhouse gases. But the major offender greenhouse gas, which is CO2, is plant food. So the easiest way to eliminate CO2 is to grow more trees. Right? We don't need to block the sun. We don't need to spray stuff in the atmosphere that poisons the plants. We don't need to, you know, make the water toxic. All we need to do is let the plants grow. The plants will balance the oxygen on the planet naturally. That's the way it works. That's the way it's been for thousands and thousands of years.
Hey, so
cut down the trees, cut down the the ability to take care of our problem with CO2. Yeah.
So there was a video of this thing where they were trying to show Trump as a member of Plus Ultra. So right now I was just trying to find this video so you can see what it is. And then, so in the course of that, I found something called KSC Plus Ultra Recruitment Film. So I don't know what it is, but I'm going to click on it and we can all watch it together. Because apparently it says here, the Plus Ultra recruitment film is to be shown to recruits only with the permission of KSC Plus U, Operations Manager. Unauthorized release is to be reported immediately to Mr. Newton or Governor Frank Walker.
I think I may have actually seen that video at some point.
All right.
I might have seen it too. We'll see.
Let's see. Hold on. Let me get rid of this other thing. Or actually, you know what I could do? Let me do this. See if I'm tricky enough. I am that tricky. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2. Warning. This report is classified. It's to be shared only with authorized members of Plus Ultra.
Welcome to Plus Ultra. We are the Kennedy Space Center chapter of a private organization dedicated to advancing humanity's future by introducing to this world fantastic technologies. Although we won't reveal all our secrets to you just yet, let's begin by telling you more about us, how long we've been here, and where we're going. After several decades of inactivity, we're back here at Kennedy Space Center. Led by our governor, Frank Walker, director Casey Newton, and her father Eddie, Plus Ultra members have restored the historic Pad 39A, which is now operational. Our recruiters once again are seeking dreamers and optimists, those who haven't given up, those who feed the right wolf. You already know one of our earliest members, American entrepreneur Walt Disney. Walt was famous for his amusement parks and family entertainment, but he was also an optimistic futurist who for decades produced Plus Ultra recruitment films. Joined by aerospace engineer and Plus Ultra member Wernher von Braun, in the 1950s, Walt produced Disneyland TV episodes to prepare the public for fantastic new space technologies about to be introduced by Plus Ultra. Dr. von Braun used our technologies in the 1960s to send the first humans from here to the moon. Walt, meanwhile, was planning his Disney World Resort in nearby Orlando as a major tourist destination. His experimental prototype community of tomorrow, called Epcot, was designed to inspire humanity by demonstrating how science and optimism could cure the world's problems secretly using Plus Ultra technology. Walt's untimely passing in 1966 delayed Epcot construction for many years. Not open until 1982. 2 years later, Plus Ultra operations ceased at Epcot for reasons we will disclose later. But now that Governor Walker is in charge, once again we are finding dreamers. Today, we at Plus Ultra are using Epcot to identify potential recruits such as you to join us here at Kennedy Space Center. Mission Space tests recruits for aerospace skills that can take humanity to the stars. Spaceship Earth is a showcase for the technological innovations of tomorrow. Visit Project Tomorrow wearing the recruitment T-pin we issued you, and you will be contacted by one of our recruiters.
It's the time of the season when love runs high. In this time, give it to me easy and let me try with pleasured hands to take you in this time to promised lands, to show you everyone. It's the time of the season for love. What's your name? Who's your daddy? Is he rich like me? Has he take us anytime to show you what you need to live? Tell it to me slowly. Tell you why I really want to know. It's the time of the season for
Bet you got some suntan lotion in that bottle of yours.
They're all over me, man. Like white on rice.
Those bastards.
Like white on rice.
For the video or for the music video?
I think it was because I was playing that song that I was playing before the song that I'm playing right now. Okay, there we go. There we go. We're good. Here we go.
Well, there goes another one just lying down on the sand dunes. I better go take a swim and see if I can cool down a little bit. 'Cause you and me, woman, we got a lot of things on our minds, you know what I mean? Walking on the beaches, looking at the beaches. Well, you just take a look over there. Is she trying to get out of that clitoris? Liberation for women, that's what I preach, preacher man. Walking on the beaches, looking at the beaches. Oh shit! There goes the shit.
See, did people just walk around like that in the 70s?
I don't know, but that video is like a typical day at work for me.
That video.
They didn't walk; they strutted around.
That is that is the original movie Gone in 60 Seconds, which when it came out, I went to the movie theater and I went and saw this when it originally came out, and I saw the fucker like 10 times on the weekend because it was cheap. I think it was like 50 cents.
Yeah, that movie is so much better than the Nicolas Cage version. I mean, the Nicolas Cage version was pretty good, but
that's lame
as a movie. But this one is definitely the one to see.
It's lame. Look, now check this out. Now this hot lady from the 70s just jumped out of her car, right there, and bruh right here is about to get her car, and he's like checking her out real quick. But he's not looking in the car, which would have been key before he got in.
Looks like I'm gonna be stuck here the whole summer. Well, what a bummer. I can think of a lot worse places to be. Like down in the streets, or down in the sewer, or even on the end of a skewer.
That's such a killer movie, man. That is a good movie, man. Gotta say.
So, on that preview, that recruitment video we just played, there's something that I'm sure everybody caught it that kind of is disturbing to me the more I think about it, right? So he's talking like we're looking for the people who won't give up, the people who feed the right wolf.
Yeah.
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
Because there's two wolves. You never heard that thing, the two wolves? Type in the two wolves and you'll see.
I can't. I'm just on my iPhone. I'm sitting in a hotel with my one AirPod to try to listen.
Yeah, there's
I'm
two.
Diminished capacity.
There's two wolves, and depending on which wolf you feed, is how your life's gonna be. I forget. I forget.
I'll look it up for you.
I think it's fear and something else. I forget what it is. It's called the two wolves.
I couldn't help but think about the idea of bring up Walt. I mean, brought up Walt Disney immediately after that, and leading into that was talking about Walt, right? And we've been talking about Walt going into Astana, and it's being an inspiration for Astana, and how during the video it mentioned that Disney found something. Well, it was the video that was playing in the background at Epcot. As you go into Epcot, right, where it's found something that can power the future. Endless energy, power of our imagination, your creativity, which is capturing the imagination, which is feeding the right wolf, right?
Yeah.
So it's in other words, it's that motive, that motif rather, that Disney uses, motive and motif, I guess, little Freudian slip, I guess, about what Disney's all about.
Well, and they also capture your imagination. And he also, the thing was, dude, we actually talked about something a long time ago, and we never really expanded on it, but we had brought it up that how easy it would be if, like, Disneyland was a source of these capturing of whatever, particular person you wanted to get. You could just get them right in Disneyland, capture them, and throw them down in the dungeons down there, and no one ever know.
The Dungeons of Disney.
You know what I'm saying?
I've heard about the Dungeons of Disney, actually.
But did you hear that it just came up this week that there was trafficking coming out of there?
Oh, yeah.
So just imagine, there's like people sitting up in these booths. These rich elites are sitting up in these booths, and they just pick a child. And then just, Mickey Mouse just comes up and, one of those characters, and they just open up and just close up around the child and drop it into one of those dungeon holes, down below, and they just whisk them away.
Some guy dressed in a goofy outfit. Yeah,
Yeah, some secret door in the trinket shop opens up, right?
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse comes out, kid disappears, and that's the end of it.
Exactly what I'm saying, man. We didn't expand on it, but I'm just saying, pretty plausible.
Well,
people notice
even
kids missing, I'm sure, but it is interesting that they can certainly identify kids for future recruitment. Like we're talking about this recruitment idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only kid that disappeared that I know for a fact is the poor guy, the kid that got eaten by the alligator at Disney World.
Yeah, well,
right?
what if?
Well, how do you know that was a real alligator, not animatronics?
What if it?
There you go. It could have been the crocodile from Peter Pan, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What if it wasn't even? It doesn't even have to be Disney in and of itself that does it. Like they could get people to they could get specific people, tell them to go get jobs there. And then the people that are already there are managers there and all the shit. And they work at the different ones. Like somebody works in LA, somebody works in Florida, somebody works wherever. And you know what I'm saying? And they just do it over the walkie-talkies. It doesn't even have to be like what I'm saying, where there's elites sitting in, skyboxes, fucking watching screens.
Right, we hear the walkie-talkies in the radio and think they're talking to the command center security, but maybe they're not.
That's right. That's all they have
right
to
in.
do. And, all you'd have to do, you don't even have to work at the park. You could just go there and dress up. But I'm sure you'd get, the park has to be involved on some level because, there's so much security there, like undercover. Like some dude will come up to you and it won't even look like, you won't even think it's, no way it's security. But, I mean, they have super undercover security. I wouldn't even be surprised if that whole thing's a government operation at this point. Disney is dead, You guys ever heard this, The Sound Defects? This is actually a pretty good album, man. The Sound Defects. All right, so there it is. The Sound Defects. All right, so what do you guys want to do, man? You got something you want to get into, Rio?
Not particularly, but I do want to comment on that thing, that video we just watching, where they're talking about recruitments, and they were saying that, the project Earth is a spaceship recruitment kind of thing to see how people can handle it, and if you get a certain class, they'll give you a little tag, and then someone will contact you, and that's a pretty fascinating concept, right? That they're using video games essentially, or video rides, as tests to see who's like adept at space flight or whatever they're checking for, right? They're looking for like a unique set of skills or a unique talent through the use of a Disneyland ride. Makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways, right? Where else can you test pilot that kind of technology?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I could see what is that? I'm trying to think of it now.
Well, it's like using a go-kart test track for kids to see who would be a good candidate for a NASCAR driver, right? And if you get one kid that shows up every week and always wins the race, maybe somebody will contact him in his teenage years about becoming a NASCAR driver or something to that effect.
Yeah, I mean,
why wouldn't a government?
Starfighter, right?
Yeah, why wouldn't or the last Starfighter? Yeah, exactly. Why wouldn't they use those methods to just find random people out of the masses of millions? I mean, it's a great way of isolating people.
Mm-hmm.
Who's got the high score?
You can be sure that that's being done. I mean, this goes back to what we've said over the years about these orphanages. They do the same thing. They find the smart orphan and boom, they get a Manson or a James Earl Ray or whoever the fuck it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the most intriguing thing about that bringing that to the forefront and really looking into that is that how many of them are actually orphans? That becomes the biggest question, right? How many of those people who actually just discovered all of the Disney thing or the Last Starfighter kind of thing, where they think they're orphans, but they really aren't, right? That's always a possibility. And going back to the 1898 World's Fair, how they had the incubator thing with the incubator babies, charging people to come see them like they're a tourist attraction, right? How long's it been going on?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man.
Yeah, and actually that guy ended up saving more lives than the whole rest of the medical establishment in the country at the time. That was in Coney Island. The baby. I forget the doctor's name, but it was an attraction in Coney Island. And he actually was like one of the best people at saving premature babies in the world.
Well, it was weird the way they brought it up and talked about it in the documentary that I was watching about it. And I read some stuff also, of course, was that up to that point, it was kind of orphans weren't treated all that well in America at all. Like it was like just thought of like vermin in a lot of ways. That's a cruel way of saying it, but it was. And the same thing with we think about even old England, right? We think about Oliver Twist, that whole kind of setup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the street urchins, they were more of a hassle than something to be thought of as innocent child to be taken care of, which is just amazing to me that people were really that callous back then. And I have to think that they probably weren't. We're just led to believe they were, but maybe they were.
Mm-hmm. It sounds strange to a lot of people because a lot of people obviously we care. We take care of children, and everybody's realizes that young children need help and this kind of stuff. But I was actually watching something the other day about some of the culture here in the Northeast, and I've actually kind of seen it to some extent firsthand, especially in more like elitist communities, those vacation spots up in Maine and Vermont and stuff like that, where people will shun you. Like if they don't like your look or they don't like your sound, like nobody in the town will even acknowledge you exist. They just completely ignore you. They won't talk to you. They won't look at you as you're walking down the street. And it's a really bizarre behavior, but it's very prevalent up in the up in those states, in those areas. There's a very elitist mindset that if you're not one of them, you just don't exist. And I could see that translating into orphanage children. Like if you don't have the perfect mother and father, well, you're just a little wart on society that doesn't really need to be paid attention to. I could see that attitude being very real. Are you guys there?
Here I had this great rant talking about eugenics and the end of the Victorian age coming to the 20th century, right? it was great. You should have heard it. Yeah. But yeah, no, that makes sense actually. That what was happening was that there was that kind of mindset, because it was still a very class-based society in Europe, of course, had been for centuries, right? And then the aristocracy, the American aristocracy, started to be formed with robber barons and all that kind of thing. And then you had the immigrants who came over that were still considered, like well, we talk about the Irish all the time, or it's not just the Irish; it's anybody that wasn't established. If you're not a New Englander, if you weren't from Plymouth Rock, basically, those people. That's where the term uppity, I think, comes from. Right? I don't know that for a fact. I always thought that, and it's if you can't trace your lineage back to the original settlers who came here with some papers, basically, in a lineage, right? Then you're not worthy of a second look.
I'll tell you
so
what,
I guess it makes sense.
I'll tell you what. So, are we coming back tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay, so we'll be back tomorrow night, just to let you know. And then secondly, I wanted to say, I really like this idea of these gods and titans. They all came from the center earth, and that Noah's Ark was a boat that came from the center earth and floated out back on earth with the certain animals to repopulate and get shit going again.
Are you talking like a hollow earth theory, where the hollow earth filled up with water kind of thing?
No, I'm saying that the inner earth, once the outer earth had been destroyed by this cataclysm or whatever, that they sent out Noah in a boat to repopulate. And that there were giants because there was giants because they were the people that are in the center earth. So, it's interesting, man.
It does sound interesting. I mean, obviously we know there were giants.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're spoken about in not only the Bible, but in many historical works about the giants.
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing to have a common myth about, right? A global myth about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like a localized story. It's it's a worldwide thing. Just like there's pyramids all over the world too, right? I mean, we have pyramids here in Ohio. You could have them down in South America, in Egypt.
It makes a lot more sense, man, that these inner earth beings or whatever, it makes a lot more sense that they just, they're the ones that appear to be like gods. And there was some dude named Zeus, and he was tall, and he could throw lightning.
What
I mean?
I mean, and even if you fit that into, the biblical story of the fallen coming down and breeding with the humans, right?
That's what I'm saying. They didn't come down. They
the
came
great
up.
men of renown.
They
were
up.
giants in the land.
I know they came up, though they didn't come down. That's what I'm saying.
Well, they were cast down from heaven into the bowels of the earth, so it would make sense that they would come up out of the bowels of the earth, right?
There you go. See?
Mount Olympus in this case is Mount Hermon. Yeah, they swore their oath on Mount Hermon. Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
The Watchers. Right?
That's what Thoth is, right? It's like all that shit that we've heard about. It didn't exist on the face of the earth. It existed inner earth.
And that's maybe part of where the whole concept of Atlantis comes from as well.
That's what I mean. Atlantis is in the inner earth, and that's what I'm saying. And then when they came out, the people that were on the earth, on the face of the earth, they were just brown, monkey-like people. And you see these. Have you ever seen these? There's these pictures of Hindus, and they're building this bridge between two places, and it shows monkey-faced dudes building these bridges.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea was put forward that these monkey-faced dudes, they weren't monkey-faced, they weren't monkeys, even though their faces looked like monkeys in the drawings. They were Neanderthal dudes. They were like primitive cavemen like dudes, but they were able to do labor. So they had a bunch of these caveman dudes just doing hard labor, putting these logs in this bridge they were building. And those were the monkeys. That's why they drew their faces as monkeys. You know, and
well, I mean, if you look at a picture of Neanderthal, that's what they kind of look like, right? They're supposed to be the intermediate step between apes and humans, but you know, maybe they were just their own kind of people.
They were just here, and then the center Earth people came out.
You know, and you could even take that back too into the creation story in the Bible, right? God said, "Let us create man in our own image," but it never says there was no other man here before that.
Exactly, and then you think,
well, there was, because Cain got married, got exiled, right?
Exactly. There is kind of evidence that suggests that there were other people around. It just that happened to be that Adam was the first one that God created in His own image. Not that there wasn't any other, you know, creation here.
yeah, it doesn't say there was no other people. It's God's people He created. You know, who knows what evolved out of what was created before God put people on the earth or whatever. Is if people don't believe in God, God doesn't exist to them, right? So if you're a Neanderthal, you don't know nothing about anything. You just fucking, you know, it gets dark and the sun comes up and the sun goes down. You know, it's interesting, man, because it makes a lot of sense.
Maybe that's you know, the whole Planet of the Apes thing, right? Maybe that's kind of a sideways way of telling the story.
Could be. No, we didn't come from monkeys. There's no question about that. I mean, even
no, but I'm saying the Planet of the Apes, right? They were the apes are the intelligent ones.
No, Patricia in the chat said she didn't believe we came from monkeys. No.
I don't think we came from monkeys either.
Mm-mm. That's what I'm saying. When Toth says he goes up and comes back down in the land of the brown, hairy people and cows them with his knowledge of magic science, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like he came from center Earth, man. It doesn't sound like he's off coming here from space. And all those people in the Hindu stuff, they're all blue. Seems to me, you know, you hear about the tall whites, you know, they're super white skin, you know.
Yeah, well, the Nordic giants, right?
There you go.
The tall whites.
That's what I'm saying.
And you think about it too, you know, brown hairy people, that obviously is not referring to people of African descent, because they're not, I mean, obviously they have body hair like the rest of us, but they're not like super hairy like a gorilla is.
No.
You know, so he's obviously referring to something else very specifically.
That's what I'm saying. All right. Tomorrow night 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern, right?
Yes.
And Epic just got a call. I bet he has to go to work.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, man. Driving.
It's a long swim. It's from the other island, yeah. So I'm okay. I can't make it tonight.
Oh, cool. All right.
Good. Glad, at least you'll get some sleep then.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to play 2 songs and then we're going to cut out. So, chat it up, everybody, because here we go. We're getting ready to go. I'll give you a call.
I take the brakes off. And I ride, whatever it takes us, so yeah, oh yeah, to get high. I chase the devil, yeah. take the brakes off. Then alright. Who never takes us? Yeah, yeah, yeah. To get high.
To inspire kids in engineering.
Good robots. You take away a lot from it.
Respect, team.
Something told me that it was over, baby, yeah. When I saw you and that girl and y'all were talking, something deep down in my soul said, go on and cry, girl. When I saw you and that same person and y'all were walking by, and I'd rather, baby, be a blind girl, baby, yeah, than to see you walk away from my baby. Don't leave me, I don't wanna see you go. 'Cause you see, I love you so much. I don't wanna watch you leave me. Don't wanna watch you leave me, baby. And another thing is, one more thing is, I just don't wanna be free. Scared to be by myself. You warm embrace. Warm embrace. When I looked down in the glass that I held to my lips, and I saw the reflection of the tears rolling down my face, that's when I knew I loved you and I couldn't do without you, and I'd rather be a blind girl, baby. Sitting up thinking